How do you teach your children to be thankful?
Welcome to Parenting Matters Now, a source of parenting advice a few minutes at a time.
Hi, this is Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now. Children by nature seem to be very self focused and self centered. And it takes some great effort for all of us to learn to have a thankful or a grateful attitude. And yet, there are some things that we can do as parents that can help our children to transition to thinking about what I receive then and think more about what I have received or what I would like to give. And those are all kinds of grateful or generous types of mindset and approach. But there's one thing that we as a family did that we look back on and we see the fruit of it in thankfulness. And it was something we call the birthday blessing. Now, it does not directly relate to thanksgiving or giving of thanks to others, but it does practice this idea of thinking about someone else and blessing them with their words. And so this is how we did this. On a birthday of any one in the family, it didn't have to be a child, but when we had a birthday celebration, we would have at some point a meal, a cake, or something where we were around the table, and we would have what we would call the birthday blessing. And this is how it went: the birthday person had to remain silent, and each person at the table, regardless of age, was tasked with saying something directly to the birthday person that they valued in them, that they thanked them for, or something they really liked about them. And it became a habit of training the children to think of another person in positive words, and to learn to express those very succinctly. And when the children are small, they're not very good at it, and they may just say something about the clothes they had on that day. But the older they get, the more they begin to identify in a person things that were good qualities and speak of them in terms of maybe a story that happened in the family, and but directly to that person. And in that, I would say it is a training for Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is where we are thinking about something positive. We're expressing it with words, whether we express it to our God, our spiritual being, or we give thanks to someone, we give thanks to whatever you see as the source of that thing. And so it is a habit of learning to identify positive things, put it into words, and direct it to the right person or being. And so something like a birthday blessing as a tradition, a habit, trains our children to begin to think in those terms, to speak in those terms. And so I encourage you to find something like that. Maybe it's not a birthday blessing. Maybe it is milestones, graduation, someone getting their driver's license, any number of those events. Those are perfect settings where we can train our children to begin to speak positive words, to give a blessing or a toast or anything positive with words. So the reason why we chose birthday blessings is because birthdays come around pretty regularly. And the more children you have, the more opportunities you have for people to practice that skill. And also, it gave us a reminder in our family that each of us have positive aspects, things that we really do value in one another. And so it gave us a format to begin to bless one another. And that carries over into so many other areas of life. There is a scripture in the Bible in First John. It says, and it's at the tail end of teaching about uh, loving God. And in this context, it was talking about loving your brother and sister. And it says, he who cannot love him who he can see cannot love the one that he cannot see. And so there is a principle here is that we begin with those things that are closest to us, our family members, and we seek to learn to love them. And from that, we are able to learn to love others who we can't see quite so clearly, that they're not forever in our face or in our room or at our table. We can see people from different cultures. We can see spiritual values, things that we cannot see. And so all of those things come into play in this idea of seeking to bless one another. And it can be as easily done as a birthday blessing. I encourage you to consider doing that and at first have very low standards for success because when someone's doing something new, they're not very good at it. And so you're going to have to practice. You be the model for what is a successful blessing, a successful thanksgiving to other people in your family and to your God. It's Dr. Roger Smith with Parenting Matters Now.
Subscribe to Parenting Matters Now for more advice, or go to rogersmithmd.com to search for more topics. See you next time.